Hey guys, Zizaran here. Wanted to throw together a quick guide for a pure Flame Totem character, but it's also something that you can use for pretty much any like skill with the Spell Totem gem. Obviously, you need a few changes, but if you've played a few other classes, most of the changes should be fairly obvious to do. If not, and you need to follow the guide strictly, then this guide is also fine for using for pure Flame Totem, and it was a lot better than I was expecting. So this is sort of the follow-up guide from the last Play With Me episode, which is sort of a show I do where I do a really low budget character and stream, and whoever wants to can play along with either the VOD or the live stream, and at your own pace as well. And I try to sort of explain the build as I'm going along. So this is a Templar ascended as a Hierophant, and the budget for this was 0. So it's sort of a episode I wanted for as a sort of like tips and tricks for like the flashback thing, which is starting later today. And this is something I wanted to recommend as an option for those of you who do want to play Templar Hierophant. Now, the Holy Flame Totem is you don't need the Spell Totem support for it, which is really nice. And I want to explain a little bit about how I make my build guides for those of you who are new to them. So if you look at the tree screen here, and first of all, you need Path of Building. Very, very great program where you can sort of plan out your builds. It gives you better stats than the in-game ones, and we'll have some details on how to get Path of Building. It's completely free down below in the description. Definitely recommend that. And then if you click here on the where it says default, you can see that I have lots of different trees. Now what this is what your tree should look like when you have, for example, 24 points, 38 points, 44 points, etc. So it should be easier for you, especially as a new player, to understand where you're putting your points as you go along. Yeah, hopefully that helps. Now, additionally, the bandits is a Lyra. You will be going crit on this, especially later on. I'd probably wait with going crit until you have a tabula and pantheons, and that obviously helps you a lot with resistance stuff for the game. Pantheons, I would probably do the Brain King just for some stun immunity, and Shakari is really nice, and you can use the Relicash Pantheon while you're doing lab because it makes you take less damage from traps. But yeah, as you can see here, early on you get like the Dark Arts nodes and stuff. Now you can choose to stay dual wielding the entire time. And we have some like different leveling sets here, like showing off different gear you can use and what I ended up using. And so you see SSF, so I was fairly limited in what I can use. And it's fine to use this in Trade League as well. If you do decide to go with a shield, which can offer you more protection, then you can just drop out those nodes there. But obviously they're very nice, especially for your flame dash. But you could use a shield charge instead. One of the big things for changing this to another build would be you can do, for example, more crit nodes. Like obviously you're very close to Throat Seeker. And ideally, I really don't like dropping or not having two 2-point gems. So maybe dropping a life node here and there, or even entirely dropping the primal manifestation here if you start getting good jewel slots. So something like that would be like life, totem damage, and maybe cast speed would be worth dropping other stuff for. For the flame totem itself, then these are insane. They're incredibly worth. That's why I go for them pretty early. And the way they work is you get the 12 elemental damage. You also get the 12 physical damage because we're fizz, like the 100% of the base is fizz and then converted. You get 15% converted to fire damage, which is obviously good for us because we are scaling a lot of elemental damage too. So you do want as much as possible to be elemental damage. That's why fizz to lightning is a pretty good link. I didn't bother using that early because I wasn't converting that much. This one is basically 16% damage for the purpose of our skill. And Divine Wrath as well is like 24 and 5% more. And obviously you're not getting the conversion. As you can see, they're very nice nodes. So this cluster is really nice. I usually would avoid that while doing crit because I feel like crit multi is so big. But in this case, it's just so nice. I think the only change that I'm going to try to make in the tree here is to get inspiration, which is quite big for a Templar. So that might be slightly changed in the final version of the YouTube. But A little note about the skills. You can sort of see here, we've my mods try to help out and give some extra like groups while leveling, so you can sort of see what it like what I was changing with my gems while leveling. This is another thing for like new players to make it easier, and then we'll have the late game gems here. Items again, different item sets, and in the notes, this is something again aimed for new players where it'll tell you exactly where to buy the gems. And if you're unsure what a mule is, for example, a Templar doesn't get access to explosive trap or lesser poison. So what we do, instead of waiting all the way to the library side quest to get these gems, we make a shadow character. And the shadow character can buy explosive trap and lesser poison, which makes the early game really, really comfortable because you do have access to these gems. If you've seen the play with me video, I also check the vendors for like a blue, blue, green, so I have nice links, or movement speed boosts and stuff like that. So definitely recommend that. Now, I was very impressed with the damage of the Holy Flame Totem, which it's probably mostly due to the fact that you're not using like a spell totem support. So for example, it's very easy to, you can drop this cluster, and that's pretty much all you need to drop if you want to do any other gem. You just drop this fairly early on, if you see. And I get a lot of questions about this, so I want to go over it in the video. A lot of people always ask me why I drop Shamanistic Fury, and generally in a crit build I don't feel like the just percentage damage is worth it over when I can like over here get like actual crit multi, which obviously is a lot higher damage scaling, and you're already getting sort of enough increased damage that your crit multi can just multiply off that. Also make sure that as soon as you start gaining any crit at all, you get rid of Elemental Overload. So obviously any crit multi does nothing when you have Elemental Overload. And the way you proc Elemental Overload when you change into totems, which I change around level 30ish, you can do totem really early, but yeah, I change around level 30 when you can get the double totem from here. The way you proc Elemental Overload is I use in my case I use the Stormman with the crit strikes, and you just slap that down now and again and you have it. I normally don't need to do that for trash because you do have enough damage anyway, so definitely look into that. And for the most part, you're most likely going to end up using multi totems, which let's see, where's an earlier one? Trying to remember. Oh yeah, that's 38 plus. 38 plus, you want to switch to multi totems. And that's part of the reason why I don't take the Ancestral Bond, because with the multi-totem it's sort of so powerful that unless you can get +1 totems from either a chest or a shield and then take these in addition, you're not really saving much. So I'd say it's definitely worth the gem. When it initially came out, I didn't even really rate it that much, so I've definitely changed my mind on that and decided that yes, that is definitely worth taking. Saves you so many skill points as well. And the Storm Run itself actually does quite a lot of damage, and I use a Storm Spire setup for additional damage. War Banner as well is only something you use in the start, so obviously I'm leveling with like Frostbomb and Storm Run in the start. And the way War Banner works, if you've ever seen me racing, it gains charges while it's on your back, and as you place it, even if it only has 10 charges, if you place it, you get the 100% increased damage from Adrenaline, and then the duration is based on how many charges you have. So like a tip that you can see in the play with me, the way I'm doing the bandits, is I make sure that I drop the War Banner a split second before I click kill on the bandits, and then I do get the 100% increased damage bonus, and I just nearly instantly kill the bandits. That's something I think is a little too strong at the moment. I think it should be all the way around, that the durations may be always the same, and that the damage is based on you having, the 50 charges, because when you're able to snapshot your damage, so to speak, with having 20 traps down, boom, War Banner, even if it's 8 charges, you're getting that insane damage bonus thing. Either way, as it is right now, it is sort of cool like timing thing that you have to get used to, especially when you have few charges. But yeah, I quite like the build. It was I was expecting that I would be switching over to like any other gem, but I was running around in early maps and using pure Flame Totem. I definitely would say get some power speed, because I didn't really have any, and it was a bit like It wasn't as fast as, Stormbound probably would have been faster. But not everybody wants to play Stormbound, so this should be a pretty fun alternative character for you to do. If you're on SSF, obviously you only take jewels when you actually get something. Hypnotics are very easy to roll. Fist damage to spells is probably your #1 priority, and then you have fire damage to spells, and then after that just any damage to spells. Crit multi, cast speed, all of these are really good, and then you have to choose whether you are going to start using a shield or dual wielding. The option is yours, both are fine. I'd recommend getting shield charge and fortify if you're using a shield, and it is a fairly flexible tree. I do have like an older totem guide, I believe for 3.5, which goes more depth into how to like do sort of everything. This is more specifically made for pure flame totem. So hopefully you guys like this guide. If you have any questions, drop by twitch.tv/Zizaran, or if there's something that we've forgotten and is missing from the guide, feel free to let us know and we'll try to get that fixed as soon as possible. And yeah, thanks for watching. Try to die less than I do.